What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis video. Alright guys, I want to talk about something that's related to Sephiroth and my hopes and dreams that this happens, okay? So, in any Final Fantasy game or any RPG game in general, as a matter of fact, any mobile gacha game, crit rate and crit damage usually end up being some of the best multipliers in the game. By far. Everybody tries to aim for the highest possible crit rate in order to do the highest possible crit damage, right? So, take for example, FF7, right? You always want to go 100% and then you want to get as much crit damage as possible because it's the best multiplier in the game. Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis treats this a little bit differently, and I want to talk about the problems with it and where it needs to see improvement and why I think, and I want to make this clear, why I think, keyword is think, that Sephiroth would be the perfect character to reintroduce a big change to crit potency and crit rate, okay? How it currently works in the game, a lot of you may not know this already, is the following, okay? Take example of the Buster Sword. The only way to get crit rate in this game is if the weapon itself, so it's only the weapon, does physical, non-elemental, or magic non-elemental damage. You'll see a little crit rate icon here at 10%, okay? I did a video, if you guys haven't seen it already, it shows how little the crit rate actually procs at 10%, right? Pretty straightforward, 1 in every 10 chance. That's usually the way the math works. Not always 100% obviously, but it's negligible. Unfortunately, because there's no way to increase the crit rate, it makes one of the best potencies damn near useless. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about here real quick. I'm gonna go to our abilities, and there's one here called Boost Crit Potency. I'm going to click on that. We're going to go to whatever pops up. There we go. Perfect. The Solid Bazooka. You can see down here it has boost crit potency of 6 points. If I click on that right now, you guys can see here the points increase allow the crit damage increase all the way up to 120%. Okay? You guys just follow me here, right? So if you play any RPGs, you guys know the goal is crit rate as much as possible in order for crit damage to proc. Without crit rate, crit damage does not proc. It's useless, right? This is going to be, in the future, in my opinion, personally, the most important DPS stat in the game. It usually is for most RPGs, right? There's usually the damage bonus, and then there's the crit damage bonus. Crit damage bonus being the best multiplier in the game usually makes fights a lot easier when you can raise your crit rate and crit damage. In this case, there's no way to raise crit rate, so crit potency becomes, like I said, very useless. What I think they should have done here personally is make boost crit potency half crit rate increase, half crit damage increase. I think that would have been more viable, and that way everybody can use it. So why is Sephiroth in this conversation, okay? I want to talk a little bit about him. So Sephiroth being who he is, right? Being the hero, the soldier, the villain, and at the same time hosting and using one of the most legendary swords in all of history, that's the Masamune. If you look back to the history of that sword in any video game, it's synonymous with crit. It's synonymous with destruction and damage. Take for example Chrono Trigger, okay? One of my most beloved games. The Masamune, which is actually used to fight Magus, if you equip that with the hero medal, it's one of the highest crit rate weapons in the game next to the rainbow sword, okay, which is a cheat sword in the first place, in my opinion at least. Love that sword, but it's crazy. If you look back actually to Final Fantasy lore, okay, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about right here. In Final Fantasy VII, you know that iconic time where you can use Sephiroth in the game when you're in Nibelheim, right? You're having the memory, and it's Cloud, Tifa, and Sephiroth is just absolutely dominating. He has like 3,000 plus health, insane stats. Well, if you look at the Masamune stats, it has 6 materia slots in 3 linked pairs, 0 materia growth, meaning it's already maxed out anyways, a 255 hit rate, which is the maximum in that game. 255 is the maximum in Final Fantasy VII. A 99 attack power, which actually I think is incorrect. I think it's actually 255 max power or attack power as well. It has a 100% critical hit rate. Yeah. Pretty much in any game that Sephiroth is in with the Masamune, which is almost every game, Dissidia, Smash Brothers, I'm trying to think of all the Kingdom Hearts, he does two things: insane crit rate and the Octaslash. Those are his two main moves of choice and stats of choice. So I think it's only ideal that if they don't plan to introduce other options for crit rate, that we may see characters come out with weapons such as the Masamune that'll have really high crit rate to make up for the lack of crit rate in the game currently, right? If you guys are still wondering what I'm talking about in terms of the battle for Final Fantasy VII, I'm going to show you guys real quick. There is actually a scene here. This right here. For those who have never played the original Final Fantasy, right? In this right here, you get to actually use Sephiroth. And in the new Rebirth, you're also going to be able to use Sephiroth. Now, I don't know how Rebirth is going to have its take on the Masamune. I'm hoping that it's going to be crit rate related too. But that's what my theory and my hope is, that we actually get Sephiroth coming in, not young Sephiroth. I just want to make that clear. Young Sephiroth, he may have higher crit rate, maybe, but I don't think he currently holds the Masamune, right? Nobody besides the older Sephiroth from Crisis Core onwards actually has that sword. Now, the sword that young Sephiroth has looks very similar to it, but is much smaller in size, and I think also still has the 3 materia slots. So I don't know if the sword grows with, because we don't know much about the sword. I don't know if the sword grows with Sephiroth as he gets taller, bigger, etc. But he's always had the sword in his hand. And eventually, in Advent Children, the sword actually starts to have life of its own. It has different color when he holds it. It makes different noises. It glows purple. And you guys can see here an iconic scene as well. I use the word iconic very often because it really is. This is what Cloud did to Sephiroth with the Masamune, and this is Sephiroth and Advent Children kind of doing it back to Cloud, right? So I hope, guys, in the near future, we do see an upgrade for that build, and we can actually make use of it. Now, I don't want it to only be Sephiroth, obviously. I'm hoping they introduce crit materia as well, too, to boost crit rate, but the likelihood of that might be a lot less than Sephiroth coming in and being that character that's going to make crit potency a more viable build. Because currently, guys, it's pretty garbage. A 10% rate, you're barely ever critting. And not only that, you need really high crit potency. You're going to give up a lot of other things. So, for example, if you use the Buster Sword, you're going to have to give up other stats for crit potency just to have a 10% chance to do 120% more damage, which is an obscene amount. I mean, it's a good amount, but it's just not enough at the 10% mark. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Sephiroth is the right choice for this, or do you guys think something else? Or what is your solution to the crit rate problem in this game, or if you even see it as a problem? I'm curious to know. Let me know in the comment section. This is Payne. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.